is Open House 101. And the story behind this briefly is that as I pull it up, I almost got fired from a listing because I had an agent not show up to an open house. They showed up about 45 minutes or an hour late. And it was a horrible experience. And I was talking with someone named Lacey Paulo, who's an account manager at Team Builder. And she said, oh my goodness, the same thing has been happening with us, where we have agents that are committing to doing open houses for our builders, and they're not showing up. And then we just started getting into a conversation about, really now what I would call the 3 fiduciaries of a leader. And it was like, well, have we really done a good job laying out the expectations and really showing agents what it entails to do an open house? And we both kind of looked at each other and we said, no, we haven't. And hold on, as I try to share this screen, is not working. And we created Open House 101. And I think I've taught this class now. Lacey and I used to for 8 years. It's required. You have to go through it. We're about to go through to do any open houses for my team. And it is very basic. It's typically a 90-minute class. We're gonna crank it out in an hour. So I just want to prep you right now. You want to get a notepad out or even type your notes. We will record this because you probably will want to refer back to it, and we will share the slide deck. Okay. So you're going to have all of this, and I do want you to ask questions, but it's also one of those things where, maybe if I finish like a segment, maybe your question will be answered. And then, and if the questions take too long, maybe what we'll want to do is get through the material, and then maybe we can do questions in our breakouts or something, because I just want to respect everybody's time. And I'm
really
sorry.
Quick, Via, we forgot to tell everybody, if you could really quick type your market center name so that Hattie can put everybody in the appropriate breakouts. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm having an issue because I want to share my screen. Here we go. Okay. Good. Perfect. I'm going to share my screen, and I want you guys to let me know if you can see this slide okay, if it's not in presentation mode, because I'm not working on 2 screens. Is that visible enough for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. 2 seconds. All right. Hold on.
Do you want me to hit mine and do present?
All right. I think it's okay as long as you can read it. If you can't read it, then yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we can read it.
So we're going to go into the steps that make an open house, and we're going to spend more time on some than the others. But the first question I have for you guys is, what is the goal of an open house? Before reading the slide deck, what did you guys think the goal was of an open house? Anyone?
To sell the house or prospect for new clients.
Yep. Prospect for new clients. Let's say, and I can't see all you guys. So who said that? What's your first name?
It was Damien.
Damien, perfect. So Damien, when you say prospect for clients, specifically, what does that mean to you? Before you read this slide, I should have probably asked you before I had this slide up.
No, it's okay. Prospecting for new clients because, well, if somebody's at an open house, right, they're there for 1 or 2 reasons. They're either trying to sell their own house that's in the same neighborhood, and they're trying to see what their neighbor's house is selling for, or they are thinking about buying. So it's really a good opportunity to find out which category they fall in and how you can help them.
Yeah, that's right. So Damien, you're correct. So you get the gold star, and I want to challenge everybody here on something, and I want you guys to look at number 2. Almost nobody comes into an open house and they say, my number 1 goal is to make an appointment at the open house. What they say is they say a little fuzzier things like you did. And I am picking on you, but everybody says that. Everybody has the same well, it's to pick up clients. And then they come back to me and they say, Via, I just, open houses haven't been working for me, because what's been happening is that, I give them my card and we click and they love me. It's great. We have this really great rapport, and I give them my card and I don't hear from them again. And the go-getters even say, hey, Via, open houses don't work for me. They give me their name and the number. and I call and I text and then they ghost me and I don't hear from them, right? A real lead, and I want you guys to write this down, a real lead from an open house is a lead that you make an appointment with at the open house. Now, what do you have to do in order to make an appointment at an open house? You have to have a free schedule. Number 2, you have to have scripts ready to go, right? And we're going to teach you that script today. And number 3, you need to have a mindset that that's what you're there for. So the question, you ask yourself before you walk into any meeting or any prospecting time or anything is, Sean, what's the outcome I want out of this hour? If I'm doing a 2-hour open house, what's the outcome I want? Well, I want two meetings. I want 2 appointments set, right? So ask yourself that focusing question every time. Actually, it's just a good business practice. Anytime I walk into a meeting or have a conversation, I quickly think, what's the outcome I want from this? Like, what do I actually want from this? It's a good focusing question. All right. So I want to be clear that, yeah, we always want to sell the house. Of course, that's always going to be number 1. Number 2, make an appointment. Number 3 is to get contact info, because you're never going to strike at 100%. Okay. So there's 7 components of a good open house. Number 1, researching a property. Number 2, amazing setup. Number 3, the critical path of sales. And that's when I'm going to give you the golden script that will make you literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because it has me and my team and hundreds, thousands of agents that I've taught this to. Number 4, client communication. How do you talk to the seller that's there? Number 5, traffic report. We're going to talk to you about a traffic report, what goes on it and why it's important. Number 6, etiquette. We're going to skim over that because you guys are all very smart, commonsensical people. And number 7, safety. We are going to skim over safety, not because it's not important, but because there are classes fully devoted to safety taught by people much more qualified than I, but it's important to bring it up for me. So those are the 7 components. And if you guys, you can screenshot it. We will also share this with you. So I just want to reiterate that again. Let's start with property research. So please, as a favor to me, never show up to a house not knowing where you are and what you're doing or anything about the house. Please don't do that, right? We want to study and know some fundamentals about the house that we're going to do an open house on. I don't want you guys to look like dummies. I want you to look like smarties. Okay. That's the scientific real estate term right there, by the way, smarties and dummies. So look, you want to know, when did the listing go on the market, right? Has there been a price reduction? This is, you tell this was written a long time ago. Of course, there hasn't been a price reduction. The question you want to know now is, when is the offer review date? And would they take any bully offers? Right? You need to know the fundamentals, right? How many showings have they had? I always urge you guys, ask the listing agent if you're not the listing agent. And all of this is under the assumption you're not the listing agent, because if you are the listing agent, this would be redundant. But you want to talk to the listing agent, or sometimes it's their listing coordinator or assistant, but you want to find out, hey, what are the big questions you guys are getting on this house? That's really important for you guys to write down. There's always 2 or 3 questions on every listing that we get the same questions over and over. Where's the property line? What school district is this? Especially, if it might be on the border of a school. There's always questions, the common questions, like if there's a vacant lot next door, who owns the lot? Are there plans to have a house go next door? What are the plans, right? What's the height restriction? We sold a condo in downtown Seattle recently, and she's like, well, this is an old building next to us. What could possibly go there in the future, right? And the agent didn't know, so I had to look it up. But I wasn't holding the open house. Had I been holding the open house, I would have known that, right? Is it new construction? Is it a flip, right? You need to know what the builder story is. You need to know who is this person? Are they local? Are they reputable, right? Just something about them. I don't know, some guy. Maybe it's a gal. I don't really know who the builder is. No. Then you look like a dummy, right? So I want you to look smart, and I want you to do your research. Condos, rental caps. What are the pet restrictions? I'm just going through my list right now. Are there any special assessments right now, right? What are the homeowners' dues and what do they include? These are the very, very basics, right? Single family property lines are big. Homeowner maintenance, is it natural gas? Is it propane? Is it electric? Is it hooked up to water and sewer? Is it septic? Is it well water? These are just the very basic things. What I really recommend for the go-getters, and a lot of you guys are newer agents, and I really recommend this, is you guys go do a site visit. So my recommendation is you go do a site visit. And when you're doing your site visit, you start plotting out where your signs are going to go. What are the turns that you find that you're looking at your map on, or you're not quite sure, you're looking at the address again. Those are the turns you probably want to put signs on, right? And we're going to talk about signs in a minute. So go do a site visit. Know how to present the house the best. You'll come up with your list of questions. You'll get a better sense of what other people will ask based on what you're going to see, and then you can go ask the listing agent, right? So it's just really, really important that you guys get a clear feel for the basics of the house. Now, here's the thing: you don't have to necessarily be the absolute neighborhood expert for every open house you do. You do need to kind of know the basic fundamentals. So is there a big, huge park, well-known park? You should probably know the name. You really got to know the schools that this one's assigned to. Again, I said it once, I'll say it again. When are offers being presented? Do they have any on the table? I'm assuming Hattie and Lena, you guys are meeting people. Do they have any offers on the table? Would they consider a bully offer? What's their story? Why are they moving? Anything you can find out that you're going to get asked, and you will get asked all those questions in this market. That would be good. The other thing I want you guys to do, and still in this research mode, is make sure the listing agent is putting the open house everywhere. It's going in the MLS. It's going in, Zillow, Redfin. Just make sure that you're seeing it there, because that's going to affect who comes, your traffic, right? And if not, just say, hey, listing agent, hey, I just want it, could you put this in, because I'm preparing and I really want a good turnout, right? Nowadays, post-COVID, or we're not post, that was a typo. It was a verbal typo. During COVID, you really might want to consider teaming up and doing these with two of you. Open houses are insane right now. We have to register, which we'll talk about it in a little bit. So you might want to team up and do that. And in the research mode, this is the time to talk to your colleague about who's getting the leads. How are you going to divvy those up? You want to pre-discuss anything so that there's no disputes, right? So those are some of the major things that I really think it's important for you guys to research. Let me just give you a side note. I don't want you, nor do I expect you, to know everything, and I mean that. Lena, why is it that it's actually good to not know some things?
Let me get your phone number and I'll find out and get right back to you.
Right. Now, Lena, right now we know because of COVID, pretty much everybody's registering. We do know that, but we don't know if they gave a 555-1212 number, or if they called them, Mickey Mouse at gmail.com, or other fun names that are not so clean. We get all sorts of fun registration names. So, anytime we can get back to somebody and have an excuse to get back to someone, that's a win. So this is a fine line between knowing enough to not look dumb. You want to look like a smarty, not a dummy. Right. But it's also, you don't want to know too much necessarily. Or, sometimes I'll play dumb. Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, let me get back to you on that exact property line, because I don't want to give you the wrong information. I think it's there, but, anything I can do to just kind of jot down their number and, have that eye to eye and kind of get that agreement. I'm going to call you within about a half an hour, okay, of the open house ending. All right, Lena. So I just want you to be prepared for that call, or whatever it's going to be. I actually would go right into my script, which I'm going to tell you in a little bit. I would actually be setting the appointment, but I don't want to jump the gun. Any questions on research before we move into number 2? Okay.
Actually, I have a question. You were talking about at the very beginning, these were all things if you're not the listing agent, but then towards the end, it felt like you were making references if we were the listing agent. Is there like a separation, as I'm writing out these notes, is there a separation as far as, like, for example, you said the turns, right? So where you place a sign, that would be if you're the listing agent, right?
No. Great question though. In fact, what's really cool about that question? Ha! Guess what we're on? It's like, you're my plant. I can't see you. Who are you? I can't.
I'm Jeanette. Sorry, I'm in a little bit.
No, it's okay, Jeanette. I see you now.
Spot.
Now you.
Hi.
No, okay. No worries. I just like to see who I'm talking to. No, that's a great question. You really, look, a great listing agent, or a listing agent that has concerns about directionals, will tell you where they think signs should be placed. There are times where I have printed out a Google map and I have put X's for open house agents where I think they should be. Now, I don't always do that, you know. And so if you're stumbling trying to find a location, then everyone else will probably stumble. And you only have one chance to go to a house for the first time. Once you've gone there once, you've already gone there. So I like to take advantage of that first drive and kind of think about where are the tricky turns, and, you know, where am I finding that I'm looking at my iPhone navigation, and, you know, where are those times where I need a little extra help? And that's where I really want to bolster my signage. And that kind of, you know, segues me into signage. Signage is one of the single most important things you can do for an open house. I don't care how high tech we get, guys. At the end of the day, signage is pivotal. There is research. Builders do a lot of research on this. Literally, your traffic is largely dependent on the number of signs you have. Now, a lot of you guys, when you're getting trained and you're going to all these trainings, what's the number that most people tell you to put up? If I were going to give you a hint.
5.
Almost everyone told me when I was getting started in real estate, it was like, 5 signs was it, right? And, and that's just wrong. The one thing that I want you guys to all break the rules on is I want you to put 10 to 15 signs in every single open house. I'm going to tell you something. It is the worst part of real estate. It's worse than cold calling. Putting out and taking down signs, Lena, right?
Yep.
Is the
running
worst.
across traffic in heels.
It's in the rain. Like, please God, let me cold call before I do that. It is horrible.
But
and how much does it work? Like, it's everything. It's really everything, right? Because I mean, I can't even express to you, there's so many reasons. Number one, people are now like, they tune out A boards because like your deli shop or your whatever has left their A board out for 18 months straight. They've tuned it. There's so many signs and like visual stimuli in everyone's lives right now. They've tuned it out. So it is really important to make a visual impact with a grouping of signs, right? And this is when we get into my little visual here, Lena. See these? What are these?
Somebody's literally asking in the chat, do you put up balloons?
Sorry, I'm not looking at chat right now. You're going to have to monitor chat.
No, okay. I totally am.
Literally, we're going to have a talk about balloons. I know. This is how high level I am. Does anyone here come from a property management, from a leasing background? Is anyone here, were they a property manager at a big apartment complex, or did they work for a property manager at all? I can't see you, so I think I'm going to need you to unmute and say yes. No, we usually have, okay, interesting. Okay. Have you guys ever noticed that apartment communities, when they're doing what we call a lease up, like a new apartment community that's leasing a bunch, you see just balloon bouquets everywhere, right? You all know that, like where you see their big signs and you see balloon bouquets. There is a reason for that. The consumer is trained to, you need to put balloons and you need to put what we call T-toppers. A T-topper is a sign that you can purchase inexpensively that slips in the top of an A board. And it says stuff like, it says whatever you want. It says things like new listing. It says things like price improvement. It says things like, hot beverages or cold beverages served, depending on the time of year. It says things like open house today 1 to 4. So the reason that this is important is that the consumers don't believe there's an actual event happening unless they get overabundance of visual proof right now. It's just the way it is. So your little 2 or 3 signs stuck out, they don't believe it. They don't believe there's something happening. They don't believe there's a live person there. They don't believe you're open for business, right? There's just a lot of research behind this right now. So you have to put an overabundance of signs, 10 to 15. 10 is always the minimum on my team. I like 15 the best. And 2, if there is any way you can put balloons on your signs, and I like a minimum of 3, as many as you can. I like white because in our climate, I never use black or gray. None of my signs are black or gray. I really like white and red because I like it in our gray climate that we have, but whatever, use whatever. You can use color combinations. Yellow is really good, I think, in our environment too. But whatever it is, do a minimum of 3 to 5 balloons. And, I'll tell what, you guys, I'm old. and I've done this almost 20 years. What I used to do is I used to like go to the QFC or the party stores, early on a Saturday morning. And I put in my order, and, they thought I was giving parties every weekend. In reality, I was just picking up my balloons and going. Nowadays we have them at the office, don't we, Lena? Don't we have?
So we have a helium tank, and we have balloons in my office. I don't know about other offices, but there's also the dollar store that you can get them super cheap if you want. We have them for free here for Kirkland.
And we can get them getting a helium tank. We can get those in all of our offices. So team leaders or MCAs, let me know if you need help with that. But, either way, it's, you'll hate it. You'll absolutely hate, you will go, oh my God, Via, you're going to like poke pins in the voodoo doll of Via. You're going to hate me. You're going to curse me. It is a pain in the butt to get out there and put 10 to 15 signs out, to take them down, to freaking go and get balloons. You're going to hate me. But
hey, Via.
What?
Sorry, I had a comment about your balloon thing of how to make it less annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how you get those Dollar Tree balloons and you can inflate them, and then they kind of, after a couple days, they start to deflate? Yeah. Well, they have a little slit where you can re-inflate them. So if you're doing open houses repetitively, you just keep them in your office in the corner, and then you just re-inflate them.
Like, I didn't know that.
Yes. So you don't have to go and buy balloons every weekend.
It's those like thick.
Yes.
That thick material.
I didn't know that.
It has a little slit so you can just refill them. Yes.
Also, this is at the dollar store, you're saying?
Yes.
Gina?
Yes.
Is it all dollar stores, or is it
yes,
just one?
It's all of the Mylar balloons. You know, the really shiny ones.
That's so cool.
They have that little slit. So, and we also have a tank at the office. So after the Dollar Tree, I'll bring them back here, and then we'll refill them up for the next weekend.
Just do me a favor, 2 things. 1, just check with the office before. Don't show up right before your open houses, because I would hate for somebody to show up when we're out of helium that day.
Right.
Apparently there's a helium shortage. I don't know if you guys all knew that.
Oh, really?
Yes. So sometimes our tanks don't get delivered and filled right away. The other thing is, somebody's asking, how far out do you go with the signs, especially in a dense area like downtown or Capitol Hill?
Okay, so this is what I want to talk about signs. When we do this class in person, I actually, and it's usually a 90-minute class. We actually spend like 15 minutes. We have maps out and everything. The quick answer is, here's the little focusing question in your head. I start at the major freeway exit, right? And like my ideal signage placement would go from a major freeway or like a major road, so like Aurora or Pacific Highway, or, like the major roads. And it would take 2 endpoints of like a freeway and a major road, and they would come in. That's not always realistic. So then the next option is to take, the biggest intersections and to move in. Most people's navigation, I always say, is really for the last 3 or 4 turns. I mean, most of the time we can get to a general neighborhood pretty well. But, leading them from the busy roads is important. Here's the other thing, and I'm hesitant to say this because I know a lot of you guys are new. I'm going to say it anyway. If you're like, I want to invest in my business and I'm not sure, don't buy fancy business cards. The one thing to invest on is signs. And if you want to brand, put signs out, because I'll tell you what, you guys, if you do open houses consistently in one neighborhood with 15 signs every open house, they will know your name. People will know your name really fast, right? So there's other reasons for this. It's not just getting traffic there. So I like to go from the most major intersections, ideally the freeway, and work my way in. If you guys have teenage kids, or teenage kids or college age kids, you can hire. I mean, it's just money. It's time or money, to do it. I've definitely had my kids do it before, especially when it's hard to understand for a newer agent. The market will not always be like this. There will be times where you'll be doing the same house open multiple times. Nothing lasts forever, including this market. So, I mean, that's my quick answer on that. And we can get more in the weeds on that, like at another session. Really quick note on balloons. If it's really rainy and stormy and bad weather, I wouldn't bother. They will deflate. They are weather dependent. And so in our climate, sometimes it doesn't work. And the last thing is they have something called permanent balloons. They're like plastic. They're like fake balloons that they kind of go on a stick. And I know that a lot of apartment communities use them. I've seen them online. I haven't personally used them. So if any of you guys experiment with those, like, let me know if they work. Has anyone used those before? They're like hard.
No, but I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about them, but I've had numerous. I've taught this class a lot, so anyway. So hopefully that's enough. I mean, like, I'm probably not going to satisfy you on everything today because we're going to just keep going. But hopefully that's enough of an overview to implant that at least this weekend you're going to do a lot better with signs, right? And we can kind of get more specific later. All right, really quick setup. So, okay, what does on time mean if your open house is 1 to 4? Zena, what does on time mean? Does it mean 1?
An hour before.
Well, 15 minutes before.
Oh.
But Zena, if you're putting up 15 signs, when do you have to start?
An hour before the
Yeah. Right. Fair enough. So everybody who's been in real estate long enough has the pit in their stomach time where they show up late to the open house and there's people waiting. It is like, it's really horrible. And you just don't want that, right? Plus it doesn't make you look, it's just nothing good about that. So what I like to do is I get there about an hour early. I go load all my stuff in. I set up my stuff. Okay. Then I lock the house all up again. And we're going to talk about this in a minute because I do all my interior prep. I turn all the lights on. I turn the fireplaces on. I turn the floor heat on. If it's a heated floor, I do it all. Then I go put the signs out and I lock the door because they'll follow the signs. So the problem is once you start putting the signs out, my recommendation is you have the house ready. Lena, has that happened to you before? Where you're like,
yeah,
100% like following you in? Yeah.
Yeah. I've had people pull up next to me as I'm putting a sign out.
Yes.
And like, where's the house? I'm like,
yeah.
Hold on.
And then you have to run in and turn all the lights on. No, so the best thing to do is to go pull in, get all your stuff done and come back. And that is an hour before, Zena, you're right. But on time means all of this is done and you're ready to go at 12:45 if it's a 1 o'clock open house, right?
Exactly.
Rebecca, my favorite hair of all. Rebecca, what do you do if you show up at a house and there's I'm old, I was going to say Yellow Pages phone book. Some of you will understand that. Most won't. Rebecca, what do you do if you get there and there's an Amazon package and like 3 newspapers and there's cobwebs on the front doorstep? Are we just too high and mighty to do anything about that? Is that below us, Rebecca?
Absolutely not. You need to clean it up. You need to prepare the space.
Right.
The walkthrough I did with my listing agent for the one I'm doing this weekend, we talked about how the staging company had kind of scuffed the front steps a little bit with the furniture. So, that I'm going to come in there with a Swiffer and make sure it's all cleaned up ahead of time. And how many open houses have you gone into where there's like dead bugs inside that deep tub and you're like, somebody couldn't just wipe that out? It's gross. Yes, clean it up.
Yeah, so clean it up. I like audio system on if possible. Just a quick note on that because we have a lot to get through. Quick note is if you're doing, high-end listings and they have a built-in audio system, I made a rule. We call this the VIA rule because the VIA will break audio systems as it turns out. So the VIA rule is either the listing agent or the seller, or who, in my case, I am the listing agent usually. They need to turn that on and they need to turn their home theater on for me, or it's probably not going on because I will probably break it. Or I will somehow make it so that they have to program their whole system, right? Me and Crestron are not friends. We are not BFFs. So I try to have them to do it ahead of time for me. If it's at all weather appropriate, I like fireplaces on, because most of them are gas. I mean, this is ready to show. All doors open, all lights on. I really mean ready. Front porch is good to go. There's no Amazon boxes. There's no Yellow Pages.
Trash cans.
What else? Yeah, trash can. Oh,
I would pull the trash cans in.
Yes. Lena, where do we park? Do we take the Prime's parking spot and park our car right before the front door?
No. Park down the street.
That's right. Park far away. We pull up, we get all our stuff ready, we put the signs out, and then we walk in, ladies and gentlemen. We let our guests have the honored parking spaces, right? We do not take the honored parking space, right? And if it's a vacant house and they'll let you park in their garage, that's fine because no one else is going to park in the garage and you can close it. But if it doesn't show the garage to its best light, don't do it. If you have a really big SUV and it's going to potentially make the garage look small, don't ruin that opportunity for the seller either. Okay, I'm going to move on because we got to go. But you're getting the idea, right? You're getting the idea that the house is ready to go and ready to be presented. Okay. We are moving fast. Oh my goodness. And Laney, you're monitoring chat, I hope, because I'm not.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to talk about the critical path of sales. And if any of you guys have been in new construction world, this is complete. This is how new construction site agents are trained. And a site agent is someone who works exclusively for a builder. And that's my background. My dad started Team Builder. If you guys ever come on our network-wide meetings, and I want all of you to come on those. Those are the second and fourth Tuesdays at 11. They're really fun. They're really great. We just have Wendy Papasan on. It's great. But on the second Tuesday of the month, we do network-wide meetings. And some of you see me, Team Builder comes up all the time. My dad started that company, and now my brother runs it. So I grew up, since I was 10 years old, I've been working, my dad's been with builders and developers doing real estate sales and marketing. So that's it's like how I grew up. And so this language is almost, it came to me before resale did, right? So we're going to go through briefly the critical path of sales, because here's why, and here's what I really want you guys to internalize. As real estate agents, your sales path is actually not about a product, it's about you. You close people in real estate. When you're in resale real estate, you close them by signing what? By signing what? Jeanette, what do they sign when they want to work with you as a buyer?
As a buyer, they would sign like a contract saying that they want to work with you. Yeah. Basically,
a buyer brokerage agreement, a buyer loyalty agreement. Exactly. Yeah. Cassandra, if they wanted to list their home with you, what would they sign? You're muted. Oh, she's muted. Chaz, what would they sign if they wanted to list their home? Oh, Cassandra, you're unmuted. There you are.
Yes,
what would they sign?
A listing agreement.
A listing agreement. Chaz, you're not off the hook. You're getting the next question, whatever it is. Don't think you're off the hook. Yeah, exactly. So our sales process as resale agents ends when we sell ourselves. Because at the end of the day, if someone signs a buyer loyalty agreement with you, I shouldn't say we don't care what house they buy. We care very much because we care about our clients. And yet, within reason, it doesn't really, we're going to get our commission if they buy a pink house, a blue house, or a purple house, right? Now, when you're in new construction, though, you're selling a product, you're effectively a manufacturer's rep. Does that make sense? So when we're in an open house, it's a slightly different sales process, right? You're still selling yourself. That's why we want to sell the appointment. And it's a critical path of sales because we do want to present the product. It's a little bit of a different approach. I don't think people teach how to present homes enough in resale real estate. I was never taught it. I was only taught it in new construction. So we're going to spend just a couple minutes, and we can spend more time later in person, how to present a home to people, right? But the first part of critical path of sales is rapport building. It's rapport building. Forward means family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So, Chaz, what do you like to do for fun?
I like to play guitar.
You like to play guitar. That's awesome. What kind of guitar? Classical, rock?
Yeah, rock, blues.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. That's great. How long have you been looking for a house, Chaz?
I've been casually looking for about 2 months.
Oh, casually looking for about 2 months. That's great. What have you done so far in your home search?
I'm usually just using Redfin and Zillow to see where open houses are on the weekends.
Oh, do you like that? Is it fun for you?
Yeah, it's okay. I'm still not sure which neighborhoods I should be in, so I'm sort of like shopping around different neighborhoods.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. When are you thinking of buying, Chaz?
I know I want to own a home, but I don't have a particular timeline in mind.
You don't have a timeline in mind. Yeah, that makes sense. Are you renting right now?
Yeah, I'm renting. So I'm down in downtown Seattle.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. When do you have a lease, or are you month to month? When do you get out of that?
Yeah, my lease ends in August. So, if I buy before then, I would not renew it, but I do have the option to renew.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Is this the neighborhood that you're looking in, or are you considering other neighborhoods?
Well, I've talked to different people and they've all sort of told me different things. So this is just one of the neighborhoods that I've been looking in.
Oh, that's awesome. What other neighborhoods are you thinking?
Well, I was looking on some other ones on the east side, like Redmond and Bellevue. I was looking in Green Lake, Ballard. Sort of want to get out of downtown a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a place that you're commuting to every day, or?
Yeah, so right now I'm working from home, but eventually I want to be able to get to Amazon's headquarters.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. So do you have a price in mind? Have you thought about budget at all? Have you met with a lender?
I haven't met with lenders, so I'm actually not too sure what sort of price I would qualify for.
Oh, awesome. Have you played around at all with some of the online calculators?
Yeah, I'm going on to the mortgage calculator and
Yeah.
using those tools and comparing those
Yeah.
to.
That's awesome. What are those telling you?
In some cases, it in the long term, it's cheaper to buy than rent, so that's a motivator for me.
What price ranges are they kind of coming up with? Are they spitting out on that calculator?
For me, they're coming up with around like $600,000-$700,000.
Okay, 6 or 7. Got it. Huh. So it sounds like you're not working with an agent. It sounds like you're looking online right now and you're just starting those preliminary things that I find most buyers do. Chaz, let me ask you this question. How would you feel about spending about 30 minutes together where we could just focus on your wants and your needs and your timing, get you a very, very clear, definitive sense of what you could afford and what the payments would be? How would that sound to you?
Yeah, sounds great. I wouldn't mind that.
Well, I would love to spend some time with you and work on all of that because it's a tough market to navigate and you shouldn't do it on your own. And I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and I'd love to do that. Let me ask you, Chaz, I'm done with this open house at 4. What are you doing around 4:30?
Well, I have work until 5, but then I'm free the
5?
rest of the night.
Awesome. Do you want to meet at 5? Would that work?
Yeah, could we make it like 5:30?
Absolutely. 5:30 is awesome. Yeah. Do you want to meet close to here or close to where you work?
Yeah, if you actually want to do a Zoom, that might work better for me.
Sure, we can absolutely Zoom. That's great. And in the meanwhile, Chaz, it sounds like you're headed to work. Can I have my lender call you when you're driving to work, and we can kind of get you at least having a preliminary conversation? There's no obligation there. I just think that a nice preliminary call would be good. Start getting you centered on that price.
Yeah, sure. As long as it's before 1.
Perfect. That's awesome. I'm going to have Christine Dunn of BKCO Mortgage give you a call, and I'm excited, and I'm going to get all your contact information. I look forward to having a really awesome buyer consultation at 5:30 with you today. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Look forward to it.
All right, thank you. All right, so that's LP Mama. Have you guys heard LP Mama before? I can't see everyone.
Yes.
Yep.
You guys know LP Mama.
Yeah.
That's your life. LP Mama is your world. It's your life. You will use it at dinner parties. You will use it with friends. You will use it at open houses. You will use it when you're prospecting. That is how you pre-qualify everybody in the world. And you will get to a point where you don't even know you're doing it, but you're LP momming everybody. So when we talk about the critical path of sales, we started in rapport and it just rolls right into LP Mama. And then I knew what my outcome was, which was what? What was my outcome that I wanted from that?
Appointment.
An appointment.
So that's exactly right. So what I want to go through right now is I want to, I'm going to come back to the house presentation because I do want to come back to that. And we're going to talk a little bit about registration. We're not going to talk too much about registration because I have good news for you. The one silver lining of COVID is everybody has to register because of contact tracing. That is a gift to you. It's been a hell of a year, and my present to you is people have to register at open houses. That's my COVID gift to you because in this hell of a year, at least there's something. I want to give you the script that really has changed my world, and it's a complicated one. It's a very long, complicated script, so it's really important that you pay attention. Get your notepad ready, and I'll say it a couple times, but the time to say this script is anytime and all the time. Someone could say, I like the carpet, and you could say the script. You could go through LP Mama. Chaz graciously let me walk him through LP Mama. Not everyone does that. You can use a script, but it's a very long, complicated script, and it's going to make you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you promise me, and I'm going to see who does at the end of this training, if you promise me you use the script, I promise you'll get at least one appointment after your open house. Okay, here it is. This is a very complicated, long script. Jesse, awesome. Would you like to meet with me after the open house to write an offer on this home?
Oh, you mean today?
Yeah, we can meet at 4:30. You said you like the carpet. Do you want to meet with me at 4:30 and write an offer on this home?
Gosh, I mean, do you think I have time to think about it?
Well, absolutely. Why don't we meet afterwards and we'll do a really great buyer consult session. Let's spend some time together. I can learn more about what your wants and needs are. Absolutely. And if at the end of that, you don't want to write an offer on this home, that's okay. We can talk about what your goals are and what your needs are. How does 4:30 work for you?
That works. I'm not sure I'm ready to sign an offer today, but I'd love to get some guidance.
Oh, Jesse, totally fine. I'm so excited to meet with you. Let me get all your contact information. And that's what this is about. It's about you. This is about you and your house purchase. And we're going to spend some time together. I'm going to learn everything I need to learn. And it sounds like this may not be the house for you, and that's okay.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Okay. This is the easiest script you're ever going to use in real estate. And here's what most people do. Most people will laugh. Ha ha ha. No, I don't want to meet with you. What? Write an offer? Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what, the best story I have, one of my best stories in real estate, is I hired a brand new agent, just like a lot of you guys, brand new, literally just brand new agent. And I hired her at the end of December, and it's January. And I bring on this amazing townhome in, for all of you guys in Kirkland, in River Trail. Now, River Trail got multiple offers in 2013, 14, when this was. Now, River Trail will get 50 offers. It's right by Microsoft. It's really cute little new townhomes right on the Redmond River Walk. It is multiple offer city. It's like the epicenter of multiple offers. So even back then, this is January of 2014. Even back then, I knew we got multiple offers. So, this agent was going to go do 2 open houses opening weekend of this new listing, and I couldn't be there. Couldn't be there for her first open house because I had a family obligation. I have 3 kids, a lot of obligations. And true to, Via, I was busy running and blowing and going 20 miles an hour. And all week she kept saying, Via, I need open house training. I've never done an open house. I'm like, we'll figure it out. Wednesday happens. Via, when are we going to meet for open house training? Oh, well, I don't know. I got to go. Thursday happens, right? It's now Friday and she's freaked. And if I recall, it was Friday afternoon. She's like, yeah, stop what you're doing. I have to have open house training. I'm like, oh, yeah, you do. You've never done one. Oh my gosh. Okay. And I'm in my office and I thought to myself, she's never done this before. She doesn't know what's possible and not possible, right? So I said, all right, okay. I said, here's what you're going to do. Here's your training. You're going to work with Caitlin, and she's going to show you where to put all the signs, but you're going to get the house all lit up and do all those things. And I said, here's what you're going to do. Every time someone expresses any interest whatsoever, if they give one compliment to the house, anything at all, you're going to say, repeat after me, okay, would you like to meet with me after the open house to write an offer on this home? This is in 2014. This is not the market we're in now. I said, okay. I said, all right. And I had her in front of me and I said, repeat it. And so she said, I go, again, say it angry, say it happy, say it sad. I made her repeat it like 20 times in a row. I'm like, go again. She repeats it over again. Great. That's all you need to do. That's your open house training. So I get a call at my kid's soccer game the next day. And it's like 3:45 or 4 o'clock. And I know the open house is 1 to 4. She's like, Via, pick up. She texted me. She's like, I've been calling you, pick up. So I call her. I'm like, what's up? And she's like, I don't know what to do. What do you do when you have 2 people that want to write an offer on the same listing? I said, what? She's like, yeah, I've got these 2 appointments because you told me to say that, over and over. And 2 people want to write an offer. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, you can't do that. You can't write an offer for 2 different people on the same listing. I mean, it was this whole thing. We had to get a referral agent, like whatever. She didn't get it. It's a funny story. She actually didn't get that house. There were multiple offers on that and she didn't get it. Do you know what her first deal was? very first deal in real estate. It was the end of February. It was a $1.2 million house in Woodinville. Same thing. She went and did the open house. She used the script. I swear to God, you guys, she wrote it up. Her first deal in real estate, 1.2 million. Absolute true story. Cross my heart. Hope to die. I couldn't make that up if I tried. So this script is what nobody says. What nobody says is, okay, well, do you want to just meet with me after the open house and run an offer on the house, right? Use it. If you promise me, if you use this with everybody, you will get at least one appointment, if not more. And they'll laugh. They'll go, well, maybe not in this market, actually in this market, guys, be prepared to refer to other people, because you will set appointments and you will, be prepared to practice real estate this weekend. Seriously, be prepared to write an offer, because these are the questions, especially in a fervent market like this. You ask this question enough, great. Hey, do you want to meet afterwards and write an offer on the house? Come on, this is a hot market. We got to go. They might take a bully offer. I guarantee you will all get an appointment. Very complicated.
Right. It works. It works.
You did it? You did it?
Yes. I do it all the time.
I love you. What?
Because I come from a sales background. So like one of the first houses, it was a sign call, and literally I was like, okay, so do you want to write an offer on this house? And they were like, they looked at me like, what? And they're like, we'll have to call you back. And literally 20 minutes later, they're like, okay, let's write an offer, like a phone call. It works.
You know what I love about that story? Here's the thing. Everyone gets all worked up about closing and sales. At the end of the day, do you know what closing is? It's asking a question and waiting for an answer.
Yes. And the close, yes. And the close, it's not for you, it's for them.
Yeah.
Yes. It works.
If they don't want to write an offer on the home, use how I did it with Jesse. Just say, oh, great, buyer consult, no problem at all, right? They need you right now. And that's what we're going to do, a buyer consult in one of our next L3s, but they need you right now. You should have the confidence and the courage of your convictions. They should not be doing this alone right now. Love that, Zena.
Yes.
You're my favorite today. Okay, really, really quickly. If you can get them to register without touching anything, one of the things we started doing is Brivity has this QR code that they can scan with their phone, and they can register right from their own phone, kind of like restaurants are doing. I like that a lot, because they're essentially registering right into my CRM, like, hi, beautiful. They're like literally adding themselves to my CRM, right? I just wanted to throw that in. That's kind of like a gift of COVID, right? All right. But anyway, house demonstration. Okay. Very briefly, when you go do your research and you do your walkthrough of the house that week before, always remember, you want everyone to come through the front door. Don't ever let anyone come through a side garage door, because the house was designed for everybody to walk through the front door. So, pre-plan how you're going to present the house. Now, when I'm teaching this in person, Lena and I would be standing at the front of the room. And what I'd be doing is I would say, Lena, look at this beautiful sweeping view. And then I would stand in between Lena and the view and spread out like this, so that I'm completely blocking the view and blocking her sight line. Don't do that. When you're presenting a house, you want to kind of come behind and, have your hand behind you. You want them, you're kind of pushing them from behind to see the house. So when you open the door to a room, don't go stand in the room and block their sight lines. Open the door and let them go in. And ladies, this is safer. It's safer for us to not get boxed in a room. Let them go in first, right? So, so those are some things that are a little bit easier to show in person, right? The other thing I like to do are micro closes. So if you've done your discovery and your LP mama, if you go back to Chaz and I, maybe I would have gone into Chaz a little bit more detail about, oh, you're looking for a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and your budget's around $600K. We think, well, what's important to you? And you might say, well, I really want a music room. It's really important to me to have a room that's maybe separated from the other 2 rooms because of sound acoustics or whatever, right? And it's really important to me that, that I have a garage with some shop space, because I like my son's an oboe player. He makes his own reeds. He'd like a reed workshop studio or whatever it is. So Chaz, what I might say to you is, Chaz, this is the garage. And one of the things I wanted to point out is it has a shop. And, I let you go and see the shop, and you come back and I'd say, Chaz, how does that shop look? Would it work for you? That's a micro close. Would that shop work for you? Yeah, I think it would. Okay. Chaz, the next thing I want to do is I want to, beautiful living room, kitchen, whatever. I want to show you this third bedroom first. I normally would show you the master first, but I want to show you this because it's separated from the other two. Chaz, would this work for you, do you think, as a music room? Well, yeah, I think it would work. Well, so basically what I'm seeing is this house is in your price range. It has all the elements. Should we get my lender on the phone now? I mean, it feels like, what else would you be looking for, Chaz? Let's do this. Do you want to meet afterwards and run an offer on this home? But you didn't expect that on a Sunday, right? That's how this looks. It doesn't have to be this weird, freaky, scripted, like sales robot thing. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be, it can be like that. Lena, I can't see you anymore. Where'd you go? Anything you want to add to that?
No, just what you said, not blocking for sure. And the safety factor, I think, is really huge too.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we talked about the script. So we talked about registration. We talked about the critical path and the home demonstration and the script. Any questions on leading them through the critical path of sales before we move on? This is the most important.
Just so everybody knows, I wrote it in the chat too. So if anybody misses it.
Yeah, and we'll share the link too. So okay.
I have a question about the number of people. I know we're limited to 10 people inside at a time, but if there's 2 to 3 groups going through, how do you best split your time, like verbally and in person with different groups?
It's a great question because it's the question, especially now. So I really like doing 2-person open houses when it's like hot like this, when you're going to have a lot of open house. So what's really important, Susan, is registration is key. When you're going to have 50 groups, your registration is key. And it's really good. This is sometimes when either people on your team, sometimes lender partners, whoever that second person is, you need to pre-plan your open house with them. And you need to make sure they understand your goal is you're playing triage. Because when there's that many people, you really have to latch on to the person who's most likely to hire you. So if someone comes in and they say my name 3 times, they give you my business card, like they're probably my client. It's just not worth it, right? It's just not worth it to try to do that. But if someone comes in and they don't have an agent and they're open and they're ready to go and they have a motivation factor or something, right? I'm going to probably follow them around a little bit more. My sidekick's going to know, okay, Bia's got a good lead, so she's probably going to be with them a bit. So then they're going to take the lead and kind of step up and play triage. But I am going to send them away, and then I'm going to come back and you almost feel like a traffic director in these situations. It is like the way I view it, having done a lot of these like crazy open houses, the way I view it is like if you're an actor and there's a bunch of rehearsals, this is your stage time. Like you are on, like you want to be well hydrated, you want to be like well nourished, like well slept, because you will be exhausted after one of those open houses if you've done it right. Because you're kind of like following people around, you're making sure they're good. Hey, you were the one that had the question on the roof. Let me just make sure I have your number. And then you're turning around to the other person who you're just juggling it. You can't probably follow everybody around though and show them all of the house. For those of you, so when you're doing luxury listings, and that's kind of a different class, but when you're doing luxury listings, one of the things I've done is I've had docents. So I'm thinking back to the most high profile sale I had was when I sold Kevin Durant's house, and it was a huge house. I must have had, I think there was 4 or 5 of us from my team every time we did an open house, and they were stationed at different areas of the house. So we were just, they had to register at a house like that. We could trap them. I mean, you were not going to gain entry unless we had all of your information. And then I could it was a ping pong. I would send them to the first docent, then they would we had a path laid out, and then I was just kind of traffic directing really, if that makes sense. So there's no right answer to that other than be very clear on your priority. Your priority are unattached, motivated buyers who, the best you can tell seem well qualified, just based on that initial pre-qual.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are asking in the chat about following people around or staying put. So I'm just saying
you're
really
not going to have the option
on
a lot right now.
Yeah. If there's a ton of people there, and like you said, you got to figure out what your priority is and get those people.
But guys, actually, guys and gals, especially gals, I don't typically go down a stair or up a stair. So typically if I am going to, walk them through, it's typically going to be a little main floor, and then I'll send them up because I can trap it. Like they have to come down those stairs, so I can kind of monitor that, or come up those stairs. I just, for safety reasons, I don't like, I operate at code yellow at every given time. And I don't know why, like I'm that paranoid person, but I don't want to be trapped up or down a stair with someone. Right. But sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. If I'm the only one there, it's a super slow open house and I have a really good rapport, and I've pre-qualified him enough to know that music room's on the second floor. I'll take him right up there, but don't ever walk in front of someone on stairwell. Please let them go first. Not an attractive. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
We were just talking about this in one of my group meetings yesterday, and with sort of tag teaming with 2 agents at one open house. And because we have to limit it to 10 people, there was a line outside most of the time. So one of the agents stayed with the people outside, and they were registering and they were chit-chatting and developing that rapport and finding stuff out. And then the person inside, they could also help keep it marked at that 10-person limit.
100%. Cool. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to practice a script this week, practice the script, but practice LP Mama. That when you're working that line, that's your LP Mama. You kind of lock and load with someone and you kind of bond with them a little bit. You go right into LP Mama. Oh, Susan, is this the only, what neighborhoods are you looking in? You just kind of launch right in there. LP Mama never has to be in that order. It can vary. The order doesn't matter at all, but it ends with an appointment. Tattoo this on your skull. The reason you are there. Listen, guys, is there anything we'd rather be doing than putting out 15 signs in the rain with balloons and doing an open house? Like, we'd rather be with our family, our friends. There's a lot we'd rather be doing. If you're going to be there, go get business, please. And the other thing is that if you only have from 1 to 5 that day because you have obligations or whatever, I would urge you to do the open house from 1 to 3. Why, Elena? What happens from 3 to 5? After. Your appointments. You're not going to set an appointment if subconsciously you're busy and you're going straight to your family dinner. Build time in, right? And you have to take your signs down too, right? So, I mean, if you don't build an open house of 2 hours in your head, that's a 6-hour workday, right? You're showing a buyer before and you're finishing up with that buyer. Saturdays and Sundays, welcome to real estate. You show me the industry where you get to make 6 figures or more and not hustle your buns 6 or 7 days a week for a while. And I'd be very happy to learn about that industry. All of you guys you got to work hard. This doesn't come easy. You don't get the rewards without the hard work. This is hard work. You're going to be exhausted after this, and you're going to be so grateful that you did the work. You got the traffic there. You closed, you got the appointments. What an amazing, fruitful weekend to come into the office, guys, on a Monday. And are you kidding me? You've had 4 buyer consults. Are you kidding me? What would that do for your life? Seriously, all of you here, what would that do for your life? If you, at the end of this weekend, you have 4 buyer consults, it's unbelievable. You're in a right market right now. It's really easy to close on the buyer consult. Unfortunately, it's harder to find them a home. It is, but you can get the clients easier because they know. So pick your poison. There's other markets when the market shifts, it's a lot harder to get them as clients, but once you get them, they'll get a home. So it's like, pick your poison. Right now, the good news I have for you is that it's pretty easy to get them as clients. They understand. They know. They know that they need an agent. All right. Very briefly, Lena, we're just going to hit this a little bit. All right. Red flag questions. So you have not lived and you have not been in real estate long enough. If the seller hasn't stayed at the freaking open house, has it happened to you yet, Lena? It's horrible. Where the seller won't leave. It's the worst.
Yes.
I had a seller drinking beer on his couch once.
Oh my gosh. I've had that too.
It's the worst.
Except, yeah. Oh.
We finally got to the point with him where we're like, we kept going, it's really better. So here's your script. So, and a lot of you guys are doing this because you're not the listing agent, which is extra awkward because you're like, oh my God, the listing agent's never going to hire me again. The listing agent's probably aware, and you need to text the listing agent right away if the seller,
yeah.
But a couple different things, be super positive, be super upbeat, and say, is it Javon? How do I pronounce that?
Javon.
Yep, it's good.
I said it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So, hey, Javon, I know you're super excited about this and you really want to know what everyone's saying about your house. I promise you, we do really good traffic reports and you will know what everyone's saying about your house. We've just found it to be more successful, Javon, if you're not here. It makes people kind of feel like it's your house. And we want them to kind of come in and visualize like that it's their house. And I promise you, we've never had any incidents and all of your stuff's going to be safe. And why don't you just go chill for a few hours, go for a walk, go to your neighbors. I promise you, I will give you a really, really good traffic report afterwards. That's kind of the script, right?
Yeah.
It won't work. You will have sellers that stay. So the best I can tell you is if you have a seller that insists on staying, this is what we have done. It's happened like twice, maybe 3 times, but the beer drinking guy, we're like, no beer, get it away, put it away. Then we were like, okay, here's the deal. If you're going to stay, anytime a buyer comes, you have to pretend you're a buyer. You need to walk around and pretend you're a buyer. We just don't want people knowing you're the homeowner because they're not going to come and feel comfortable buying your home. It wasn't a surprise, by the way. It was an expired listing and I was a second agent. Gee, I wonder why. So, you just have to be really respectful and be strong enough to tell them what's right, but not rude about it. Okay. So let's talk about red flag questions.
What if they don't want to leave?
Well, then what, you make a deal with them. And you say, okay, here's the deal. It's your house, but Javon, you can, obviously you can stay. What would be awesome for me and what would be a win-win to make this a successful open house. And Javon, by the way, this is about money. We want to make you money. Right. And so the more, can you just pretend you're a buyer and maybe, just walk around and look like a buyer when people come? Would that be okay, Javon? That would be a lot better. In fact, it'll be good. It'll look like there's people here already. Would that be cool? Could you do that for me?
That's fine.
Thank you. And get the beer away. Put the beer away, Javon. Okay. So Lena, what are some of the red flag questions?
From from people or from you asking
when
people?
Sellers, do you have did I not? I probably didn't send you the thing. All right. Red flag questions. Red flag question is when the seller sees you and they make comments to you like, why isn't my house sold? Everyone else is getting multiple offers. Why isn't my house sold, Susan? Why, what's wrong with my agent? Do you like the flyer? Susan, do you like the flyer my agent did? I don't think it's very good. I think the house isn't selling because, the flyer's not very good. Those are red flag questions when they are starting to throw their own agent, the listing agent, under the bus, the listing agent who is most likely in your office and has allowed you to do that open house. So the first thing you need to do is you always edify the listing agent. By edify, I mean, you're saying very respectful things. Jordan has the best bookshelf in the planet. And I know he is the best real estate. He's one of the top real estate agents in our office. He is a superb agent and he's really good at pricing and his clients love him and he has a great track record. I'm sure there's a reason that he wanted the flyer to look like that, but definitely I can reach out to Jordan and have him reach out to you about that flyer for sure. Right. And then you might want to say, and it's funny, I know the media and all your friends are probably telling you about all these multiple offers, but actually not all houses are getting multiple offers. That's not always true. A lot of them are, but not all of them are. Right. And so Jordan's a really, really good agent. I really just would encourage you to reach out to him and, you're just edifying. Okay.
Or the, what would you do differently? Ooh. If they're asking you holding it?
Yeah, I would just trust that Jordan had a really good reason to do all of this, right? I really trust him. He's a really great agent. And so, I don't know enough background to know what I would do differently. I would do what Jordan did. I trust him. I would hire Jordan to list my house. So that's what we do, guys. That's what we do, right? Now, privately, you can call Jordan after the open house and say, hey, man, your flyer wasn't good. Now it put me in a tough position. I think you need to, as a co-broker in your brokerage, I'd like to see us all raise the bar on that blueprint flyer on pink paper, right? That's not even color. Buddy, what's up with the flyer? But not in front of the client, right? That's really, really important that we edify each other. we have to have each other's backs here, right? And even if it's another brokerage agent, if someone there hired you to or had you do an open house on their listing, we edify them. That doesn't mean that you don't stifle your opinion privately to the agent, right? You know, but I think that's obvious. I think it's obvious, but you know, goes without saying. Lena, I'm just pulling up I'm trying to pull up my notes to see.
I haven't pulled up. So just pricing, marketing. Why hasn't my home sold?
Tell them about G. That's a huge one. You see G on 4?
That the seller will take less.
Yeah, you can break your fiduciary.
Or yeah.
It's bad.
Or that they'll take a bully offer, or telling them about the property flaws.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You cannot speak for the seller, guys. There are agency laws at stake. You can't say things like, "Oh, they'll take a bully offer." You can't say things like, "Oh, they'll take less," or
anything that's going to jeopardize
anything. Yeah. You really can't. You can't say things like that. Just be discreet.
And you know what? You also never know if somebody that you're talking to is like the seller's friend. Or the seller that didn't tell you that they're actually the owner and they're just waiting to see what you say.
Totally. All right.
Other thing, one more thing, there's Ring cameras up everywhere. And I know that a lot of people listen too.
I assume every showing you have, every house you go in, every open house, you assume you're being recorded visually and audially. Thank you. I need to add that. We need to update this because I just assume now. I just assume. All right.
And if you assume that, you're on your best behavior.
Okay. So really quick, I'm going to send this around. And by me, I mean Hattie is going to send this around. I highly recommend you guys do traffic reports really briefly. We'll just, maybe, what is this doing? It's like, oh, cuckoo. We'll send you our format, but I like to give the weather because the weather affects traffic. If it's really good, this guy is not my traffic report. I have a super fun internet connection. I'm in Austin, Texas, y'all.
How's the weather?
It's like Seattle. It's not, at least it's not like
Susan is asking for you to explain a bully offer.
A bully offer is when they have an offer review date, Susan. So say the offer review date is going to be Tuesday at 3 p.m. and it's Saturday. A bully offer would be, and let's say the house is $500,000. A bully offer would be typically it's going to be pretty high. And we're going to talk about that actually when we talk about our buyer consult class in L3. But a bully offer would be if you said, look, I'm going to offer you $650 if you take this, tonight, or if you take it before that deadline on Tuesday. You're going ahead of the deadline, but you're making it so appealing to the seller that you don't have to compete against 20 people. People do not like competing. So really quickly, I like to give weather in our open house reports. I like to give time, number of groups. So if a family unit of 3 comes in, how many groups is that? That's one group. It's not 3, it's a group. So it's groups that come together. COVID's funky. Like it's a little more clear who a group is, right? Okay, let's talk about feedback really quick, right? I like to give unfiltered feedback. And I think you guys need to get comfortable with this because here's the thing. You can't own what other people are saying about a house. That's what they're saying. Too many people filter. So if 5 people come through a house and say, you know what, it smells like cat pee, you need to put that on the traffic report because that's not on you guys. You're just, it's an unfiltered. Now the listing agent, they may or may not share that with the seller because you're sending this to the listing agent. So verbally, let's go back to the seller communication. Verbally, if the seller does come and, okay, how did it go? And you're giving them the report, you're going to give them a very broad overview, right? What you're not going to do if you're talking to the seller directly is tell him things that you're going to tell the listing agent. Like never, ever tell a seller, oh, I think you're going to get 7 offers. Oh my gosh. I think 15 people are going to write an offer on this house. Never, ever promise to a seller ever that they're going to get X amount of offers. You will get bitten in the butt every time. Because here's what happens. If you say you're going to get 15 offers and they get 10 offers, which can we all agree 10 offers on a home is a successful listing?
Did we lose you?
You will somehow, oh, did you lose me? Did you lose me?
Yeah, I still hear you.
I can
Yeah,
hear
I've
you.
got her.
I hear you.
I see ya.
Okay. All right. If you say that it's Murphy's Law, you will actually, you will get judged for only getting 10 offers. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't do that. It just don't ever say that. Now, what you can say it to the listing agent though, right? And the other thing you can say to the listing agent is, look, you know, I'm going to give you the traffic report. It's editable. It's a Google Doc. So you can send what you want to the seller. I'm telling you, 1/3 of the people said it had an odor and it was bad. You know, it's up to the listing agent to share that, right? So don't filter things. You need to, you have to, in all fairness, give a correct, adequate communication about what people are saying, right? And don't take that news on as your own. You're just the messenger. Don't be shy. It is what it is. If 5 people walk through and say, you know, I think this is an ugly house, you know, because the carpet is ugly, you kind of have to put that down because that's a trend. Because, you know, that helps the listing agent, because then the listing agent can say to the seller, you know what, I think if we replace the carpet, we'll get multiple offers. This is, your job isn't to interpret, it's just to pass it on. Does that make sense? Most people are shy about that. There's a lot of showings that happen and realtor previews that happen during open houses. So I like to break those out. Very important that you put the agent's name and number, because they didn't use the super lockbox because they came in through the open house. So for the listing agent to follow up, they need to know who the agent is, at least their name and their brokerage, right? And then, you know, again, you can just see these are some samples of real open houses. And this wasn't as hot of a market. It was a pretty hot market, but you can kind of see just any notes at all. Let me see if I have a couple. I think I have a couple. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I think I have a couple examples that we can send you. Let's see. Yeah, so this one didn't get very many groups, and you can see this agent said we may have had some competition with Summerfest going on, and also first sunny weekend in a while. That was August 13th, right? So that you can see that the agent's also really good about putting positives and negatives, right? So if you guys do this every time you do an open house for a listing agent, who do you think the listing agent's going to call every single time they want to have an open house done? We're going to call you. This is valuable. This is valuable. This is going to help you guys get prime open houses, right? Prime open houses. All right. We don't have time to go through etiquette. Dress like you're at a job interview. That's it. Because guess what, guys? Every day of your real estate career, you're at a job interview. Newsflash, you're at a job interview every day. So dress like you're at a job interview, whatever that looks like for you. Be sure to clean up all messes. Be sure to lock doors. I have stories. I'm really bad stories. If you want to get fired, don't lock a door, right? And then we can talk about safety a little later. That's a lot of talking, Lena. Do we have any questions before because I want to send you guys to breakout groups in your market centers, because I really, really want you guys to commit to something for me and for Lena. I want you guys to commit to finding an open house to do this weekend. And I want you to commit to trying the script at least once. Can you guys do that?
Back to us.
Oh yeah, for sure. But can you do that? You promise? Promise? All right.
I see a lot of thumbs up, head nods.
Yep. What we're going to do is we have 9 minutes. We're going to put you in breakout sessions with your own market center. And I want you guys to commit to finding an open house this weekend, and B, commit to the script. Make sure you have an accountability partner in that group that you're going to, they're going to ask and check on you on Monday, and you're going to ask and check on them on Monday. Did you do it? And you might even want to check with them tomorrow and say, okay, do you have your open house yet? Right? You got to scramble. Some of you might have to do it next weekend. That would work too. So I want you guys to commit to finding an open house, I guess, either this weekend or next weekend, and then practicing the script. Okay. And then I, for sure, Lena, they have to tell us. They have to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my email address. Do me a favor and email me. I just want to hear the success stories. I want to hear them all, because
we actually love it. Sean was really good and emailed us all of his updates, and I love getting it.
I love Sean's updates. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
So send them to us.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to put you in your breakout rooms for about 8 minutes, and then you're going to go on. We're not going to come back and meet on this. So if you have follow-up questions though, in here, let me do this. Text or email me. Text or email me, and I'm around. I've got some phone calls later today, but I don't have any more appointments, so I can try to get back to you guys. And then Hattie will get you the traffic report and the slide deck, and we will see you here in 2 weeks. Lena, do you remember our topic in 2 weeks? I don't remember.
I have
Hattie
it.
might.
Hold on.
Hattie, do you remember it?
So next, in 2 weeks, it is 311, how to write a competitive offer and win your buyer in a multiple offer situation, which is so perfect right now.
Okay, we're telling you all of our secrets on that one. And we're even going to send you a bonus video to watch ahead of time too. Okay. So, okay, you have 7 minutes in your breakout, and your job is to commit to picking an open house, finding an open house in the next 2 weekends, using the script, getting accountability partners. And I thank you so much for spending an hour and a half with us. Thanks, guys.